Hello and welcome back to the woods at Lone Pine Tarot. I hope you're having a day or night of solace wherever you are. But even if it has felt a little noisy, uncertain, or overwhelming, I hope this reading can offer you a quiet place to pause for a little while. Today's topic is a simple one, but one I always find extremely helpful. Short and sweet, we're asking your spirit guides for a message they don't want you to miss right now. So let's explore exactly that and see what message your spirit guides may have been patiently waiting to share with you. Your pile leaders of choice today are 3 different High Priestesses from 3 different tarot decks. Over here on the left for pile 1, you have the High Priestess of the Ostara Tarot. In the middle for pile 2, you have the High Priestess of the Ethereal Visions Tarot. And on the right for pile 3, you have the High Priestess of the Tarot for the Great Outdoors. Pause here, of course, if you'd like a little more time to decide, but when you're ready, your timestamp is waiting in the description below. I'll see you in your reading. Hello there, pile number 1. Welcome to your message from your spirit guides today. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to the High Priestess from the beautiful Ostara Tarot. So we'll put that right back into the deck so it's available for the message later if need be. But we're actually going to start with both the Pastoral Tarot and one of my mini tarot decks today, just to get an overall glimpse from your spirit guides, like what area of life they want to talk to you about today. Could actually be multiple, it doesn't have to be just one, of course, but we'll see. Spirit guides of pile 1 today, could you tell us a little bit more about what it is that you're reaching out to them about? Thank you. Give us a sign, please. Actually feeling drawn to this back one, so we'll flip that one. We have 2 blue jays. The 5 of Swords, and I don't know about you guys, but at least the blue jays I've seen do tend to fight a lot, hence their association, I think, with the 5 of Swords in this deck, because the 5 of Swords often represents a time of conflict. Specifically, it might be regarding a literal verbal conflict that tends to be associated with the air element of the 5 of Swords, but could just be a conflict in general of the mind, something that you're conflicted about internally. We'll keep going with the other cards to see what other context clues your spirit guides give us, using that pocket tarot I mentioned. Alright, Spirit, what else do you want to say to pile 1 today about this conflict they're having of some sort? Maybe you've been seeing signs regarding blue jays recently, pile 1. That could be another piece of hint that they're giving you with this reading. We have the 6 of Pentacles. Okay. Tends to represent a time where there's a question of fairness or charity or equality, especially when it comes to maybe career or money or resources with that Pentacles association. And then your second tarot card today from at least this deck is the World. Very beautiful. One of the major arcana. And that tends to mean something is coming to an end. We're finally closing a chapter. I think, pile 1, what I'm hearing intuitively is that your spirit guides are reaching out to you because they want to tell you that some sort of conflict you've had, either, external, like verbal conflict with other people, or an internal conflictedness that you've been dealing with, related to a fairness or related to some sort of equality with money, resources, career, like I was saying before with the 6 of Pentacles. The spirit guides are telling you that this is coming to an end. They're telling you this phase of your life is coming to a close. So kind of almost feels like a reassurance reading to me. At least this first message. Hopefully that comes across as good news. Like I said, I mean, usually conflict coming to a close is a very, very good thing. But we'll look at your oracle cards too to see if there's any more hints here. Any other messages? Maybe details as to how this is coming to a close. Okay. It's odd. I'm actually drawn to the very back one. We have, look at that, the raccoon and sycamore with curiosity. As we know, raccoons are very curious animals. I don't know if you've ever had them around, but I sure have. And I can tell you this, pile 1. They're very smart. They're very tricky. They're very, dexterous with those little sticky thief fingers that they have. I always have them in my backyard trying to steal grapes from some grapes that are growing on our fence. So, but with curiosity, I wonder if I'm hearing for some of you that this conflict might have actually stemmed from someone getting a little bit too curious about something. Like someone else in your life was this too curious raccoon. They kept poking at something that they shouldn't have, or they keep trying to poke at something that you really wish that they wouldn't. Or someone said something to you, and if it's like an inner conflict that you've been dealing with, pile 1, it's like that thing that they said to you, that little, it's like they put like a doubt in your mind, or it was some sort of verbal poke, and it stuck with you in the way of like a very sneaky manner. And so it's been bothering you. There's something about that as well for a lot of you. We'll keep going with your other oracle card. We have, celebration with number 37, which added together 37 equals 10, which also means the end of a cycle, just like the world does, okay? Oftentimes 10 in cartomancy does mean something's finally coming to a close, or it's at its zenith, its peak, its end, right? So, celebration. It could have been related to a social event. It could have happened at a social event that someone said this to, or at a celebration of some sort, and it sort of muddied the feeling of it, or muddied the celebration of it, or the joy of the whole situation. And it just wasn't fair to you, pile 1. And or I'm hearing, if it's not necessarily like another person, like I said, it's more of an inner conflictedness. It's like something you were supposed to feel celebratory about, or you told yourself, I should feel good about this thing, but I'm conflicted for some reason. Either way, though, it's coming to an end. You're not going to have to feel that doubt anymore. You're not going to have to feel that little, whether it's someone else kind of like prickling at you, or your own inner conflictedness prickling at you, finally that chapter is coming to a close. And for those of you who are more like inner conflicted with this particular situation, the curiosity, I think, too, is maybe this feeling that you have of what ifs is really the main question coming to mind from I'm hearing from your spirit guides, is like you keep asking yourself the what if, coulda, woulda, done those kind of doubting questions that we always do, or tell ourselves, or ask ourselves, I should say. And it's like your spirit guides are saying, no, this is a time that you should feel celebratory for yourself. This is a time that you should celebrate yourself. You should celebrate your success or your achievement with this. For whatever reason, that you're doubting yourself, or for whatever reason that you're feeling as if you should feel guilty, your spirit guides are basically saying, don't. So it's a bit of a reassurance reading with that, too, in that they're saying, like, you don't have to feel as if, like, you don't have to feel conflicted, pile 1. And same thing, too, with the raccoon. Like I said, they tend to be kind of sneaky little tricksters, right? Because, they get into trash, they do other things, right? They almost kind of make me think of the 7 of Swords in tarot. We'll see if that card comes out in your main spread, but they almost make me think that maybe even you have a bit of like a feeling like, oh, I stole something, not literally, right, pile 1, but a feeling of like maybe you see yourself as like the quote unquote raccoon in the situation where you're like, I feel like I snuck away with something, or I felt like it was too easy, or I felt like it was just not right in the way that I won or achieved this thing. It's something along those lines as well. And so Spirit is saying, as I said, or your guides, I should correct too, like, you don't have to feel like that sneaky thing. Like, I wonder if you tend to get imposter syndrome a lot. Like, you're a perfectionist, pile 1, or you get imposter syndrome a lot, where, like, you're too hard on yourself with your achievements. You're too difficult with yourself when it comes to just letting yourself celebrate the things that you have achieved or gained or done. And so for a lot of you, this might actually be not just the ending of this particular feeling of conflictedness or conflict with another person, but it could also be, I'm hearing, an end of this particular lesson in your life path, in like your spiritual journey, where you finally learn, I don't have to feel guilty for winning, or I don't have to feel guilty for finally getting my fair shake, like the 6 of Pentacles talks about. So in that way, it's like the end of a chapter in terms of your spiritual growth too, where you're saying to yourself, okay, like, why should I feel guilty about the things that I've achieved, or the things, like, I don't know, for some reason, it's just like it nags at you. But in either case, like, Spirit is saying, we're going to close that door and we're going to open a new one with that. Let's look at your main tarot spread. I'm very curious to see what else pops out for you. So far, it's been kind of one cohesive message that your spirit guides really wanted to reach out with you with on that. Okay, spirit guides, what else do you want to tell pile 1 today? Thank you. Also, a side message, for those of you that feel as if there's a social event coming up and you think that there is something sneaky about it, or you think, oh, this seems like too good to be true, your spirit guides and being told very explicitly are saying, don't second guess that social event. Don't fear as if there's something sneaky about it. Because I think you might be seeing, you just use a common phrase, you might be seeing shadows where there are none with that particular social event, but they're telling you to just enjoy this particular outing, or like whatever it might be, party or gathering. I mean, insert thing here. It's like you distrust the capacity of this event to actually turn out well for some reason. I think that's the overall arching theme here, is that your spirit guides are saying you're doubting yourself a lot recently, and you're doubting a lot of situations recently. And it's not like they're saying that that's, bad of you, or that you should never doubt anything, but they're saying in this particular case, in this particular phase of your life, it's better to lean more into giving benefit of the doubt to situations rather than always assuming that something is underhanded or going to go wrong. I almost wonder if you might get the moon with your tarot cards. Let's see what else pops out here. Speaking of, we have, the Empress reversed. Can mean, too, a side message that you're not partaking in enough self-care recently. Sometimes the Empress reversed can mean that we're not taking care of ourselves, because it's like feminine energy and the opposite. We're not really nurturing something. We're not giving it enough of what it needs to grow, okay? It can also mean, too, that part of what you've had conflict over was some sort of situation where it felt as if, like, a project was smothered, or like something wasn't given enough resources to grow. Could also mean a conflict with your mother as well, because sometimes the Empress reversed can be like negative connections or situations with our mother figure, okay? Let's see what else pops out. We have the Knight of Cups reversed. Someone taking action with a little bit too much idealism or not enough. And I think that reflects what I was saying before about you doubting a lot of things recently, pile one, where you are kind of viewing things a little bit more pessimistically than your spirit guides would suggest. It's almost like you lost your capability to believe in... it's not like overall, like over like everything in your life, pile one, but for some reason, I think in recent times, and just with like this upcoming thing or like phase of your life, you've been looking at it like, I don't know, for some reason, it's really hard for you to find, like they're saying not the silver linings necessarily. Here, I'm going to just tap in for 1 second, because I just want to make sure I'm saying this correctly. One moment. They're saying that you're looking at the future through black lenses, and I think they mean that as an opposite imagery to like rose-colored glasses. Like, that common phrase where people say like, oh, you're looking at the past through nostalgia goggles, or you're looking at things through rose-tinted glasses, okay? That's usually meaning like someone's looking at something too optimistically, like, or too, like it's too rosy for the reality. But with the black lenses, they're basically saying to you, pile one, you're looking at it in too dark of a light, just like the opposite of looking at something through rose-tinted glasses. Okay. And they're saying for you to take off those dark lenses and put them aside and see things clearly again in terms of your optimism for things. Okay, so we'll keep going with these cards. We have 2 more, and then I'll, of course, pull the 5th one. And this is why, because they're saying your hardships are coming to an end here at pile 1. You have your central card here, your heart of the matter, I call this in my spread, is the 5 of Pentacles reversed, especially when it comes to struggles regarding career. Hence the Pentacles. Also, especially regarding struggles with resources or having enough or money, things like that. It might have been that you've been going through a lot of hardships regarding career or resources or money recently, and maybe that's why you've been a little bit more pessimistic, which, I mean, pile 1 is very understandable. Like, we all do that when things have gone awry, when things have been kind of hard, when things have been dark. But they're saying you're moving into a phase now in your life where you don't have to wear those dark lenses. They're saying it almost like you were going through a phase of your life recently where the dark lenses made sense because it was quote-unquote dark out, aka in metaphor they were saying like it was a harder, darker time of your life. But now that the sun is metaphorically rising for you with this new chapter, it's like you still haven't taken the lenses off because you've said to yourself, well, this is just normal. It's normal to see everything as dark or as night. But your spirit guides are saying, well, wait a minute, pile one. Then you won't witness the dawn. You won't witness the light coming back and this easier chapter coming after this harder past chapter closes, because you're not giving it enough of a chance to take off those dark lenses to see it more clearly. Does that kind of make sense, pile one? So just know, like, especially with that Five of Pentacles reversed, it's like things are finally looking up in terms of that hardship. Okay, that's like the main thing they want to tell you, being the central card of today's reading. And then the fourth card today is, oh, beautiful. We have another 10, which, as I said before, is cycles ending. It's also a really good card in terms of happily ever afters and emotional satisfaction. It's also a really good card if you've been having relationship issues recently, either with, like, say, a mother figure, for an example. Sometimes it can mean romantic, too, not just platonic or familial, because the 10 of Cups is that satisfying, as I said, happily ever after regarding a relationship or regarding, a partnership of some sort, okay? It can also mean that we feel emotionally fulfilled after this time of hardship. So once again, this is just emphasized because of that card now popping out, reaffirming what I was saying before. You are moving into a better chapter, okay, pile one? And then let's look at your final last card. I'm going to just shuffle one more time here. All right, Spirit, what else do you want to say? Guides of pile one, about this message today. And then we have, look at that, we have the King of Pentacles. Okay, that's especially a really, really good sign, pile one, in terms of career and finances and security and stability. Because we literally have the penultimate zenith of the Pentacle suit, which are those exact things I was just listing off, money, career, etc. We had struggles before. I mean, a lot of the conflictedness, I think, was over distribution of resources with that Six of Pentacles that we talked about at the very beginning that, causes conflict either within yourself or, like, from other people, etc. And I said earlier too, I think some of you might feel imposter syndrome, as I said. Some of you might be feeling as if you, like, don't deserve this, or it's like it's too good to be true, as I was saying with the dark lenses metaphor. But all these cards are coming out from your spirit guides to reassure you that no, it's not too good to be true. And yes, you do deserve this upturn after this dark night of the soul, is the phrase I like to use, that you just went through, okay? We're moving from a time of a lack of ability to nurture, from a lack of being able to take idealistic actions with that Knight of Swords, Knight of Cups reverse that we had in your second position card. We're finally overcoming those financial career hardships and stability hardships with the Five of Pentacles reversed. And then we move into very greener, more golden pastures, to say as a metaphor, happily ever after, and the King of Pentacles, which, as I said, is the penultimate of security and stability. He's someone who's very successful with manifesting goals when it comes to career, when it comes to those money, resource, stability things. And on top of that, it can also represent a person, just like the Knight of Cups reversed can too, being a court card. But I'm not seeing that so much with that card, but I am with the King of Pentacles hearing a message here too, that especially if any of you are in like a relationship, or part of the conflict was with someone who is masculine energy and an earth sign, that's part of what's going to resolve here with that conflict, if that resonates with you. And or I think part of who helps you bring this to fruition, this ending of the bad chapter and opening to a much brighter, more like dawn kind of colored chapter rather than night colored, right, is that masculine earth energy sign person. Okay, so just know times to celebrate are coming. That happily ever after is coming in terms of at least resolution from this hardship kind of chapter that you've been going through, as I said. And just know that there's a lot of like negative things moving out here and like positive things moving in. Okay. I do just want to ask one last question for you specifically, especially for those of you that have had like an external conflict type of thing with that Five of Swords that popped up with the Blue Jays at the very beginning. So I'm going to ask your spirit guides, for those of you who resonate with that, how does that resolve? So spirit guides, how does an actual external conflict resolve for those of pile one that applies to? Because if I was sitting in your position, that's what I would want to know. Okay, we have, look at that, we have the Seven of Swords, which is that kind of raccoon energy that I was talking about earlier. I was like, I wouldn't be shocked if you get this card, right? Seven of Swords is something about deception or trickery, and then this card very prominently wanted to come out with it. We have, the Chariot. And then we have the Knight of Swords reversed. Okay, so for those of you with an external conflict and you're wondering, like, how does it resolve? It's kind of sneaky. The Seven of Swords is something kind of subtle and kind of deceptive, but turned positive because of the association with the Chariot about things moving forward. Chaos finally gets under control and under reign. And then the Knight of Swords reversed is... I'm almost hearing in this situation that it resolves a lot faster than you're expecting. Because the Knight of Swords is usually a very quick card when it comes to, like, speed-related questions. So, so is the Chariot, too, because literally it's about forward momentum, right? So, very quickly, almost in a deceptive manner, it's like the conflict just kind of fizzles out. Like, they're showing me your spirit guides like a fireworks sparkler, and you're like, oh god, this is going to go on forever, and then it just kind of goes out of the blue way prematurely, but in, like, the best way possible, because it's like you didn't want that conflict to keep going, of course. So, I don't know. I'm thinking it's one of those situations where it'll blow over a lot easier or faster than you're expecting. Like, you might be... It's like that dark lens message again, where you're looking at it through the dark lenses, and you're thinking of it in a little bit too of a pessimistic way, at least in terms of how long the conflict might draw out. It might not be as big of a struggle or, like, point of contention as you were thinking, is what I'm hearing, okay? So just keep that in mind, pile one. So most of your reading today was kind of reassurances, I think. They want to reassure you about, like, the conflict, be it external or, like, an internal one, like I said. They want to reassure you, too, of a time of hardship coming over, more fairness coming in, times to celebrate. Also, they just want to remind you, celebrate yourself, pile one. Don't feel like an imposter. Don't feel like, too, on the other hand, that you have to be a perfectionist here. And just remember as well, self-care, because that was also the Empress reversed message, of course. Please focus on your self-care. They're saying you might have been neglecting that a bit recently. And then also, try to look at life through dawn-colored lenses rather than the dark-colored lenses a little bit here. Believe in the optimistic possible. And that will help usher it in even all the faster, okay? So, that was your message from your spirit guides today, what they wanted you to know. I hope, of course, number one, it helped you. Also, of course, that you liked it and it resonated with your situation. And if so, please like, please comment, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I'm eternally grateful for any of those three things you choose to do if you feel compelled to do so as your reading wraps up here. So thank you very much if you choose, right? And as we say in our tradition on the channel, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day or your night, pile one, and I hope to see you again in the woods someday soon. Goodbye. Hello there, pile number 2. Welcome to your spirit guide message. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to the most beautiful gilded Ethereal Visions Tarot for your pile of choice today. Now, as we always do when we choose with tarot readings, I'm going to put your pile leader right back into the deck for use later, if need be, if it chooses to come out. But we're actually going to start with the other tarot decks today to see what area of your life your spirit guides want to talk to you about today. Of course, with all spirit guide messages, it might be just one thing they want to reach out to you about, some kind of bigger message. Of course, too, it can also be multiple messages. So we'll kind of just see what pops through, right? Spirit guides, a pile 2. Can you tell me more about what it is you want them to know today? What have you been itching to tell, pile 2? Okay, I'm drawn to this one. We have beautiful. The farmer of the 7 of Pentacles with a very cute, forgive me, I cannot remember the name of that breed of dog next to him. Golden Retriever, Lab, something like that. Correct me in the comments if you know what breed of dog that is. Very cute no matter what it is, though. And we have, it almost looks like, is that little finch or a sparrow next to him in the grass. And of course, we have kind of a very traditional depiction of the 7 of Pentacles as, like I said, a farmer starting, planting, growing things. So just to summarize, so far, at least the first thing that your guides want to talk to you about today is regarding something that you're trying to start or something that you're trying to grow. So we'll, of course, see more details with your other cards, but I wonder if some of you have started a project recently or started a new job, or you've been wanting or desiring to start something, but you haven't quite pulled the trigger yet. We'll see what else pops out, but those are very common kinds of situations that the 7 of Pentacles would represent. Oh boy, a lot of cards just wanted to come flying out. We have the 5 of Pentacles reversed. Beautiful. Okay, they are telling you too, I think this is a side message, but it might be related to this thing that you're starting because it might stem from the thing that you start. Your hardships are coming to an end regarding some sort of struggle that you've had with finances, career, or stability, because Five of Pentacles reversed does represent overcoming hardships in that area of life. Okay, so they are telling you to have hope for that, but we'll see. Of course, like I said, as always, more details are useful. I'm really drawn to this card. We have, oh cute, the Six of Cups with the lambs. I think they're technically lambs. Goats? Lambs. I'm going to say lambs. And the Six of Cups tends to represent childhood, things from our past. I'm going to draw just one more card on that one, because I'm curious about what part of your past they're referring to. It could also be related to, like, childhood family or siblings, or friends from childhood, too, like a long-time friend that you've had, pile 2. Something about the past when it comes to... Okay, there might have been some sort of social conflict with this person or sibling. Or in the past there was some sort of conflict with your family or sibling. They're saying something about that. Or there might be a social event coming up that you're kind of worried about regarding meeting with these people from your past or person from your past. Normally this is when I would move on to the oracle cards, but I'm really curious, pile 2. Like, if I were sitting in your position, I would ask next my spirit guides, okay, what are you trying to warn me or tell me about this? Okay, so spirit guides, what's the message or the answer to this past-related social event that might go wrong or issue that's going on? Thank you. So it seems like you have multiple messages today, pile 2 already, which is good, but... We have a surprise. Page of Cups. It might be someone, too, who is a more youthful or comes off as more youthful water sign. That's usually a Page of Cups energy. There's a surprise coming with them. And Spirit, what's the surprise? Or guides, excuse me. We have the Seven of Cups. Something that they've been deciding about or dreaming about. Or choosing in terms of what their heart yearns for. So, I could pull cards all day on that specific message pile too. And there might be other messages that come out later with your oracle cards in your main tarot spread, but as for now, just expect some sort of surprise coming with this person from the past regarding either you had like negative social interactions with them, or you're afraid of like a social event coming up with them that you're afraid it's like going to go wrong or something. There's some sort of surprise coming with that, as well as it being related to like some sort of deciding or deliberating between their dreams or choices. That's usually what the Seven of Cups is all about. You know, they always kind of give me Pisces energy. I don't know why I'm hearing Pisces, but it's that kind of feel. I don't know. They feel like a Pisces to me, this person. But anyways, let's keep going. We'll look at your oracle cards. I didn't want to rush that particular message, but I'm also like, well, we do have other cards to pull. So we'll see. There might be other things that pop out that relate to it too. We'll see. Okay, spirit guides. What else do you want to say? We have that one that wanted to come flying, so we're going to take it. We have the snake and the fern with starting over. Yeah, you know, a lot of you are doing some new things. I mean, not just because of the Seven of Pentacles with starting new projects and watching them grow. Like, he's almost looks like pumpkins he's growing here. At least it looks like that from the leaves and the flowers, right? But now you have starting over with the snake and fern, you know, and snakes are often symbols of rebirth because, you know, they shed their skin, they become anew again and again, right? It's like you're shedding your skin, or you already have. I don't know if some of you like left a job and you found a new one. Or that's part of the hardship coming to an end, is you finding the new one. And it's like that start of that new project. Or some of you, it might have even been like a small business that you started, or some sort of project that you started. And it's a complete refresh, reset from what you were doing before, what was going on before in your life. Like a complete new beginning. Some of you might have even uprooted your life and moved somewhere, I'm hearing. In which case, your spirit guides are commending you for that. They're saying that was a good move. I'm specifically being told to tell you that that was a good move, if you had any doubt about that, by the way. Because they're saying some of you might be doubting that move or that new beginning, and they're like, don't. They're like, why are you doubting it? Pile 2, why are you doubting this? Okay, let's see what the Ask Your Guides Oracle says. We have, well, quite prominently this one, we have beautiful. Ooh, Well, not so beautiful because we have exhaustion with number 19, which 1 plus 9 equals 10. End of a cycle is usually what 10 means in numerology, at least the way I see it, right? Exhaustion. You know what? That might have been why some of you burnt out. You were exhausted. You left a job because you were exhausted, or it's like there wasn't anything there left for you, and it's like the resources were just exhausted. And I'm really drawn to the way that the star on both this card and the Five of Pentacles, I think they're the same amount of points. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so it's an 8 pointed star on each one of them. I'm going to admit, I don't know off the top of my head exactly what an 8-pointed star means. If any of you want to weigh down in the comments down below or like do a quick Google search for me, I'll try to leave one, like an explanation in the part of the description right next to your pile, like timestamp. Like I can look that up after the reading, but like, of course, while I'm recording, I can't just look it up right now. But there's something about an 8-pointed star that keeps coming up. So look into that. It might be a sign or a symbol that your spirit guides have been trying to show you a lot recently or get your attention with. Yeah, because I don't see any others, but that is very specific. It's 2 8-pointed stars. Okay, so yeah, and then they're saying exhaustion. They're saying like you were exhausted with something, you let go of something, or like you're just ready to let go. Some of you, as I said, might not have actually even started the new thing yet, but you're debating or deciding or deliberating whether or not you want to do the new thing. And if that's your question, pile 2, if that's what you've been kind of asking yourself, well, should I stay? Should I go? Should I do the new thing? Should I leave this old thing behind? Your spirit guides are basically giving you the advice of if you're exhausted, that's your sign that you should go. Or if you already made the decision but you've been doubting it, if you were exhausted and burnt out at the time, yes, you should have left. Okay, or you should have done the new thing. And then I'm just going to draw a clarifier on the exhaustion. Yes, because you know what? There's something about revealing a deception or trickery here with the Seven of Swords reversed. And the Nine of Pentacles, yeah, okay. You weren't being fairly compensated for the effort that you put into things, pile 2. That's another part of the exhaustion, but also I think you might have found out someone was being sneaky or was trying to get away with something, and you're like, I'm just so tired of this. Or maybe right now you're still in that. Unfortunately, my condolences if you're still dealing with that, right? But you might unfortunately still be dealing with it, as I said, and so it's like you are asking yourself, man, I caught, like, just as an example, it might not apply to all of you, but, like, say you're working at a particular company, and, like, they're doing shifty things, like, they're just really sketch, and at the same time too, like you're not getting fairly paid for your effort, which is a quintessential Nine of Pentacles reversed kind of energy, and that you're burnt out and exhausted. That's basically your spirit guides telling you, pile 2, that that's a really good shining neon sign in your face that maybe that isn't the best place for you. Now, easier said than done to leave a place. I know, of course, especially with the modern economy, it's not easy just to and the job market too. It's not easy to just drop a job and then find a new one. Like, I get that. If that's like how that specifically applies to you, as I said, it might not be a job for all of you, but just as an example, right? I know that's not easy, but at the same time, when so many flashing neon signs are in your face of, as I said, this is sketchy, or it's not on the up and up, or you're tired, you're burnt out, you feel as if you're not being fairly compensated for your time. As I said, those are signs that maybe it's not the best place. And in fact, oftentimes, we get kind of caught in the comfort of places because we think, this is a phrase I say often on my channel, the devil we know is better than the devil we don't. But this is kind of your spirit guides giving you a sign here that starting something new is exactly what will overcome that financial or career or stability hardship with the Five of Pentacles reversed next to that 7 that we talked about at the very beginning with the farmer. And then on top of that, you have starting anew or starting over with the Snake and Fern. So, I mean, it's quite a lot of signs there, pile 2, that it might be a good idea to consider something new if you haven't already started it yet. If you have started it yet, as I said, this is your spirit guides basically saying, good job, you did the right thing, it's going to be off to a great start, or you're going to continue doing well. Okay, let's look at your main tarot spread, though. We'll see if any other messages pop out for you today. Okay, get the deck together. This one is always kind of finicky in the way it wants to stick. Okay, spirit guides, anything else you want to say to pile 2? Any other messages? Okay, that one for sure. We have King of Pentacles. Okay, yes, prosperity with security, material finances, and career. Well, it's interesting because that's your inciting incident card. Although sometimes with spirit guide readings, I don't always read it as a timeline. Let me see what comes up next before I remark on that one too much. Then we have the Two of Swords reversed. Inability or can't make a choice. They're saying, too, for those of you doubting, that in the end, there would have been no choice otherwise than to move on anyways. That's a very specific message that's coming through. They're almost showing me like you walking through a labyrinth and you coming to a crossroads in the labyrinth, and it's like you sat there at the crossroads and you looked at the two paths that were in front of you, which was stay, which was go. And you chose go, or you're considering choosing go, but you might always wonder, well, what would have happened if I stay, or if I did stay in past tense, if you have already made that move towards something new. And they're showing me that had you stayed, or if you do stay, that labyrinth path that way ends up at a dead end anyways, hence the Two of Swords reversed, which is like the inability or not offered a choice. So it's like there's no choice in the end anyways, okay? Especially when it comes to manifesting success with that career, money, things, etc., because the King of Pentacles is related to that area. Let's keep going. I'm very curious to see what else pops out. We have the Nine of Cups reversed. Okay, yep. There might have also been people there that were, like, this might have been actually the main problem. Because the Nine of Cups reversed is, I call the middle card the heart of the matter. It's kind of one of the overarching themes, or like the main point. And the Nine of Cups reversed can represent people that are kind of smug. Like, they're very indulgent in their luxuries in a very negative way. Like, they're very like, I got mine, screw you. It's like that kind of feeling. That might have been a lot of the atmosphere, and that might have been the final nail in the coffin for you in terms of wanting to leave, or if, like I said, you're still there and you're like, man, this is like, I can deal with not getting paid enough. I can deal with not being, things being a little sketch, maybe, at least, in terms of, like, if you think, well, it's out of my control, like, maybe I don't, I can, not that you would look the other way, but you know what I mean, pile two, in terms of, like, a job where, like, you might know the company's not on the up and up, but you're like, well, I still need a job, I can't just walk away. But then it comes to the point of the smugness and the attitude of the people there that really bothered you, or bothers you currently. And it might be related to the CEO, or like the boss of this company, or like your manager, because that's another person that could be represented by the King of Pentacles that started all of this, being the inciting incident card. Okay. So, as I always say, take the reading as it resonates to your whole situation. Or like, for those of you not relating specifically to this being related to a job, because that was just the example I used, kind of take it and apply what I'm saying to your specific situation instead of a job. But for a lot of you, I think this is related to a job, I'm hearing, because there's so much of like bad, toxic workplace vibes here. And like your spirit guide saying, please move on, or thank God you moved on. Okay. And then let's look at your next card. We have the Strength card reversed. Okay, that might be some advice for the near future. Let me look at the final card before I speak on that for sure, though. And look at that. You have your Pile Leader, the High Priestess, at the very end, which is also oftentimes an advice card. They're saying to you, Pile 2, that right now, especially those of you that haven't started yet, the new thing, or new chapter, they know that you doubt yourself. They know that you're lacking courage and confidence right now. And even if you have started it, you might still have that lingering, like, well, am I good enough to do this new thing? Like, will the new job work out, or will this new business work out? Whatever it might be that you started. They can tell that you might struggle with that here in the near future still, because Strength Reversed is often a card of lacking the ability to muster courage for something, or feeling as if we're not good enough for something. It's not strength in like the physical, muscular way, of course. It's strength in the way that literally, like how the maiden here, traditionally she pries open the jaws of the lion, but right now she just kind of has her hand on its mane, like she's sort of in control of it. It's soft power. It's the power of what we have within that spurs us on to achieve great things on the outside in the tangible world, right? Near future, you're going to struggle with that. I can see that with the near future card here, but they're telling you that you have no reason to feel that lack of courage and no reason to feel a lack of confidence, because with the High Priestess, they're saying your intuition and your gut knows the way. I'm almost hearing a side message here that because your intuition plays such a big part here in the near future, and they're encouraging you to follow that they're saying it's like your soul, they're saying your soul knows the blueprint. You just have to trust in the engineering of your spirit. I don't know, some of you maybe are engineers, or you work with blueprints like architects, something along those lines. I mean, blueprints can be in multiple different jobs, like electricians, building, construction, whatnot. There's something about blueprints specifically, though, and they're saying don't doubt the blueprints of your soul or what your spirit has already set out as the guideline. And that makes me think this is actually tied to your life purpose. There's a very big spiritual meaning to this new thing that you choose to do. And that's why they're telling you not to doubt or not feel a lack of courage. You're meant to thrive away from the environment that you're moving away from or that you already have. All it takes is the alchemy of you turning fear into courage. That is the one trigger that this success is waiting for. Whether, like I said you started already, and therefore you're still kind of in the stages of like, well, I don't know, did I make the right decision? Blah, blah, blah. Or if you haven't started already and you're kind of in the, oh God, what do I do? Do I take the leap? Have courage. Use your courage. Be confident. Hold your head up high. And that is all the universe requires from you to make it work, is what I'm hearing from your spirit guides. Okay. Sounds simple. I know it's easier said than done, right? But I know they're also saying fortune favors the bold here for you. So maybe keep that as a mantra. Remind yourself that every morning when you get up, pile 2. Fortune favors the bold. Because they're saying where you were or where you are, if you're still in kind of that bad place, is like a cave. They're using a cave specifically as a metaphor. Dank, dark, musty, ew, right? You don't want to be there. But they're saying where you're meant to go with this soul purpose, this life purpose, is somewhere that's a way wider horizon. Far greater reaching, far lighter, and hopefully less smelly and musty, right? So don't doubt that. Don't doubt yourself. I know it sounds cliche, but they're really emphasizing that for you today, pile 2, all right? Don't be afraid to be like the snake and choose rebirth. Shed your skin, travel lighter towards the future and the light, okay? So that was your reading today and your message from your spirit guides. Or multiple messages, it looked like. Kind of focused on one, but some other things did pop out, like I said. Like that surprise with this person from the past social event thing. I'm still curious what that is. Let me know if some of you down below maybe kind of know what that is. If you're like, oh, I kind of know what's popping up, but I guess inherently with it being a surprise, you might not. So anyways, either way. Yeah. Hope you liked it. I hope it resonated. I hope the reading helped you, number 1. That's my main goal. And if it did, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And thank you very much if you feel compelled to do so or choose to do so here as your reading wraps up, because every little bit helps the channel so much. So I'm eternally grateful for your feedback, likes, and of course, if you want to subscribe too, that's also a great honor. So as we say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day or your night, pile 2. And I hope to see you again in the woods someday soon. Goodbye. Hi there, pile number 3. Welcome to your spirit guide message. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to the very beautiful High Priestess of the Tarot for the Great Outdoors. Now, if you know my videos, you know we always put tarot deck leader, pile leaders, I should say, back into their respective decks so that they're available for the message later if need be. But we're actually going to start with 2 other tarot decks today, just to ask your spirit guides what area of your life are they referring to with these messages. So get some context, some more clear understanding of what they wish to discuss with you today. Okay, spirit guides of pile 3. Let's see what you want to discuss. Thank you. Okay. I think this one wanted to come out most, so we'll take it. We have the 4 of Pentacles with the Farmer and the Hay Bales, which, if you're familiar with hay bales, you know they're hay stored, of course, for later times, especially for feeding animals. And the 4 of Pentacles is very similar in terms of that keyword storage. holding on to things, reclaiming things, clutching them close. For some of you, it might be a message regarding telling you or advising you to maybe hold on to something more, or there might have been a struggle or situation recently where someone has been holding on to something and you're hoping that it is released, or you could have also been considering, should I keep something or should I let something go? Something along those lines. We'll keep looking with your other cards. These will provide more context, but okay, Spirit Guides, what else about this reserving message with the Four of Pentacles? Thank you. Okay, we have the star, very beautiful. I love that version of the star. Star is often about things that we hope for, we have faith in. Light after a time of darkness. And then we have the Knight of Swords, taking action with our words or communication. Can also represent a person who is somewhat younger, not quite a youth, but or is that way in their personality. Doesn't have to be literal physical age, and they tend to be an air sign. So for some of you where it's like another person who is involved, very likely they could be an air sign because of that Knight of Swords. Or you might be the air sign, and on top of that, I think it's either they asked you for something and like they were hoping for something with the star and you're not sure whether you should give it to them or hold on to it, or like you asked them for something and you're not sure if they're going to give it to you. But I will say this, in terms of timing, because the Knights in Tarot tend to represent the speed of how things progress. The Knight of Swords is, I believe, at least I personally interpret, as the fastest Knight in Tarot. Knight of Wands, I know sometimes people interpret that one as the fastest. I interpret Knight of Swords as fastest. And so that usually means something's going to progress very quickly. So for those of you waiting for an answer on, will someone give something to you, very quickly you'll know, you'll find out. For those of you kind of wondering, like, when to give someone something, like if you have decided to let go of something, sooner is better than later with this particular message. But we'll keep going. We'll see what else pops out in terms of your oracle cards. We'll see if there is another message or a similar message kind of expanding upon what we've already discussed. Okay, Spirit Guides, what else do we want to say to pile 3? Thank you. Oh, also, too, because the Knight of Swords can mean taking action with communication or with, like, logic and intelligence, it's very possible that this might be a communication related to, like, say, a school or university, or could also mean communication or action taken regarding, like, you have sent a letter to somebody and you're waiting to hear back, or you submitted something and you're waiting to hear back, but the answer's been reserved from you. Something along those lines, pile 3. We have the Bobcat and Blackthorn with, you might not like to hear it, because I was just talking about waiting to hear back from someone, or waiting to hear, we have patience. But as I said, remember, the Knight of Swords is the fastest knight in tarot, the way I read it. So even though the Bobcat and the Blackthorn represents patience, I think it's more along the lines of, yes, they know you've had to be patient for this, or that it might have been difficult for, if someone had asked you for something, for them to be patient, waiting for your answer. Either way, like if you're the one that's been waiting for something, pile 3, they're commending you for your patience. And it was also a lesson in teaching you patience of some sort, but also too, if it was someone else waiting for something from you, you were teaching them a lesson in patience. It kind of really just depends on how it applies to you, but as I say, take the reading as it resonates with your own situation. And patience will be rewarded, is what I'm hearing as well. There's something, too, about the way, I guess all predator animals do this, but the bobcat especially might look and wait a long time at something that they want or something that they're waiting for in terms of their prey. And so in seeing that, it's like I'm seeing the bobcat's eyes peering through the bushes and taking a very long time to decide. And they're saying there was nothing wrong in this situation with patience having played a part, despite how much you might have wanted it to rush, or someone else might have wanted it to rush, okay? Patience was the main purpose, is what I'm hearing. Because something was supposed to happen at the time that it happened, or that it will, if it's still kind of near future here for you. and it will play out exactly as it was supposed to. They know that it might have been difficult for either you or the other person to keep their hopes up, hence the star, right? But, I don't know, it's like that old mantra, that old saying, good things come to those who wait, is what I'm hearing specifically for you. So let's keep going. We'll look at your Ask Your Guides Oracle as well. Spirit Guides, anything else you want to say to pile 3 today? Either same message, similar, at least in terms of context, to maybe something to add more, or a different message too. Let's see what pops out. Well, that one is very prominent. We'll take it. We have Epiphany. And I find it interesting that the focus is on the eye, just like I was talking about. I was seeing before, like a bobcat peering with its eyes through like foliage, through the bushes. Epiphany. Seeing something finally clearly. Understanding something clearly. Oh, that's why. They're saying you're going to have an epiphany when the time comes as to why there was such a wait. Or like why, if someone was waiting on you, pile 3, you'll have an epiphany in terms of why you might have had that intuitive sense to make them wait, to give an answer or to give what they were asking for. Let me draw some clarifiers to be sure, but it's like they're saying there's more understanding coming at the time that the energy turns from reserving something into something finally being given or answered. The epiphany is, okay, there's a whole nother level to it than you understand. That's what judgment is often about. It's about like there being a greater layer to something or like a greater level to something. I often call it like literally like the level up card. But in this case, it's like a greater understanding from a higher perspective than you currently see or the other person currently sees that's involved. Moving to the next level, greater understanding. And then we also have the 3 of Wands. Especially when it comes to how far these plans will actually go. Because the 3 of Wands is taking action on plans that we have made. It's that fiery energy with Wands. I've already decided, I've already made the plans, and now I'm going to go forward with my plans, and I'm waiting maybe to hear back from the ships that I have metaphorically launched. Okay? Just because the ships did not come fast doesn't mean that they'll never come home. Which kind of reminds me of the Odyssey. Speaking of, I mean, I know people were talking about the Odyssey movie that came out recently. Very similar to the Odyssey, where just because Odysseus did not come back immediately didn't mean he was never going to come home, right? I mean, it took him quite a long time, right? What, 20 years I think it was? Something like that. Been a while since I read the Odyssey, the original, right? But the actual epic poem, right? But maybe you watched the Odyssey recently. Maybe you saw it. Maybe that's a bit of a sign from your spirit guides too. Anyways, okay, let's look at your main tarot spread from the Tarot for the Great Outdoors. We'll see what else pops through from your spirit guides. We have the 5 of Wands, more fire energy. And I find it interesting because typically the 5 of Wands is about competition. But this particular 5 of Wands is the forest after a forest fire. So it's like removing competition. It's more about what remains after a time of thinning things out. And there is growth coming from the fallen logs. We have almost looks like these little morel mushrooms, right? Some mushrooms of some sort, if not morels. And it's a reminder that even when things feel bleak, or even when things feel like a wildfire has gone through in your life recently, that there's growth there that you might not see at first glance. Because this biker is just looking at the path ahead of them. They're not really noticing that through the wildfire death around them, there actually are things growing, like those mushrooms, which do have to subsist on decaying matter, right? So it makes me think of that judgment card of like that level to something that you don't quite understand yet, that you'll have an epiphany about when the time comes for you to receive the thing that you want, or like give the thing that someone's been asking for. Something about removing competition. And then we have the 10 of Swords. Now, once again, this deck is kind of interesting in the way it displays it, because the 10 of Swords is usually a card of betrayal. It's usually a card of endings in terms of like bad endings, right? But this particular card, reading it more intuitively, is more of a happy scene. We have people that are at a finish line. They're like, oh, thank God, we're finally done. Especially this guy over here. He's kind of like, oh, God, I'm tired. He's all leaned over. He's like, I'm finished. And it's like you finally getting to a finish line of some sort. Finally. And especially with it having come right after a card of competition being cleared out. For those of you that are currently in a race of some sort, and I don't mean that well, maybe some of you literally are, right? But most part, I don't mean like a literal race. But you're in a race of some sort, metaphorically speaking. You're going to win because something takes out the competition. Well, I mean, I guess it sounds kind of ominous. I don't mean that in like a dark way, right? To turn into a spy movie where everyone's assassinating each other. No, I don't mean it that way. But something will take out the competition, pile 3. And that's why there was such a wait. We'll keep going. We'll look at the other cards. Then we have the Emperor reversed with Yosemite National Park. Very beautiful. Emperor reverse tends to mean that there's less structure to things. Things become a little bit more nebulous. There's not as much organization or power or authority, especially masculine energy, because that's usually what that card means in terms of like masculine versus feminine energy, right? It's like the father card, of course. And 4 has been repeated twice now with your 4 of Pentacles and the Emperor, which is like stability. Let me pull the next card. I might also just tap in intuitively here, pile 3, because I'm very curious. And then we have a feminine energy with the Queen of Wands. Someone who's very confident. Someone who is very assured in the way that they're achieving things, especially regarding their ambitions or creativity, being that fire energy the Queen of Wands has. I don't know if some of you... Some of you separating from a partner. I'm hearing that specifically for some of you. In which case, you're going to do it successfully. Because there's something about striking out on your own more. And life will feel a bit less structured because of that Emperor reversed, but it's not a bad structure. Like, I'm not reading the Emperor reversed in the typical negative way that I would. Just like I'm reading the Ten of Swords, not in the typical negative way that I would, because it's like, yes, there's less surety and certainty, but at the same time, it allows for more independence. Because that's another really good keyword to use with a Queen of Wands, is independence. I wonder if some of you are feminine fire signs too. That can be a Queen of Wands. I'll keep going with the final card here. Then we have the Sun reversed. Okay, Acadia National Park, very beautiful. Typically a negative card. Let me ask about that, because usually that would mean either a lack of happiness or like a lack of truth. Let me draw a clarifier as well as tap in intuitively with that. And I just want to make sure I'm hearing that clearly from your spirit guides. We have the Eight of Cups reversed. That's why. Okay. So Eight of Cups reversed tends to mean we're having a hard time emotionally moving on from things. I think a lot of this might actually be related to a relationship as well. Like maybe you've been in limbo about ending the relationship, or it's been kind of a long separation sort of process. But for even those of you this isn't related to a relationship, there's something about they're warning you in terms of not letting go of things emotionally. And that's why the Sun is reversed currently. Because I do see tarot as sort of a snapshot of the future, because we do have free will, pile 3. I will always, and I know this, I will always say that too. We have free will. There are some moments in our lives that are kind of set in stone a little bit in terms of our life purpose, but there are choices along the way. A lot of it really is free will. Therefore, the future isn't always 100% set in stone when you draw a tarot reading for the future. However, on the path you're on right now, you're on your way to that independence, don't get me wrong, but to find true happiness after you hit that finish line, after that competition is removed, after your patience has been rewarded and you finally get the thing that you've been looking for, or there's a release of something that you were deciding whether or not to give or give up on, right? If you do not emotionally process letting go of it, There may be an unhappiness or a lack of clarity because of the sun being reversed as your outcome, but you can change that, okay? I'm not going to lie and say it's a great card because most of the time sun reverse is not great, right? But as I said, as a future card, it's not set in stone. You can change that. So if there's any advice your spirit guides have for you on that, it's number one, try to focus on leaving things emotionally in the past that no longer serve you. Of course, I'm going to draw maybe one more card on that too as another piece of advice. Lean into your independence. That's another really good message here from the Queen of Wands. I mean, maybe the Emperor literally is like, you don't need no man, you know, or whoever your partner is that you're dating. Doesn't have to be a man or a woman or whatever, but doesn't matter what gender, right? But we have two. We have the Knight of Wands and the Magician. They're saying focus on what you want out of life. Focus on what you want to manifest. Don't focus on emotional things that no longer serve you. Think about what dawn or horizon am I working towards instead of what dusk or night am I walking away from. Okay? Focusing on what you would like to manifest, hence the Magician, and focusing on the actions that you want to take based on your ambitions or creativity or your willpower, hence the Knight of Wands, is what's going to turn that situation around with the sun, and it will bring you far greater clarity and far greater happiness, okay? So I don't know what's going on in all of your lives watching this particular pile. Like I said, it could be a relationship, like I picked up on some of you that you're kind of like letting go of, or maybe it's kind of dragged out, but you're kind of like, you're quite sure at this point, you're like, this is not going to work out right. Or it could also be to, like you waiting back to hear on something, same thing. No matter the outcome, as long as you focus on those things, on being confidently independent, on not needing structure necessarily, and celebrating your wins and your finish lines that you cross. Because especially with that being in your recent past position with that Ten of Swords, with the finish line, particular interpretation of that card today with your deck, I think you already have had wins that you didn't really celebrate enough. So pat yourself on the back for the finish lines you've also like already crossed, pile 3. But at the same time, don't let that past drag you down. It's not going to be a fast process. I think that's why patience also came up. But, you know, I'm hearing another thing too. That's also what will lead you to your epiphany. That's why the sun is reversed right now in this particular snapshot of the timeline, because you're currently on the path to not understand that higher perspective, that higher level of understanding. If you keep looking to that emotional past, you keep letting emotions from the past drag you down. However, let them go. That's the only key that you need to unlock the sun upright again and to understand that epiphany, to launch your plans into the future, to manifest your ambitions, things like that, okay? And in fact, actually circling back to the very first card, that Four of Pentacles, I had talked about, it might be you holding on to something, or it might be like you deciding whether or not to give somebody something. I wonder if really that's kind of what they were saying is represents you right now as you clutching on to things. For most of you, general reading, everyone's going to be a bit different, but for most of you, the Four of Pentacles can mean that you are holding on to something. And so they might, and I would say based on these cards, pile 3, they might be telling you to let go. To reverse that Four of Pentacles energy. Let it go like the harvest of the old year, or the past year. And don't be afraid to try to reap and sow a new harvest instead of the old one that's no longer growing anything, okay? It may take time, may take patience, but you'll understand when you get there with that epiphany, oh, that's why, okay? So, beautiful messages today, pile 3. I hope, of course, number 1, the message helped you, right? That's my main goal with these readings, but also that it resonated with you and you liked it, of course, too. And if so, please like, please comment, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And thank you so much if you choose to do any one of those 3 things as your reading wraps up to its end here. I'm eternally grateful for you helping grow the channel, for giving me your feedback, for just liking the video, if it's just a simple little button click for you today, right? Every little bit helps a lot, as I said, so thank you. And as we say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day or your night, pile 3, and I hope to see you again in the woods someday soon. Bye.